So now we're going to move into the Climate Leadership Awards. I want to thank our communities folks for really grounding us in what we need to think about locally as we move into our working session this afternoon, where it's all about local cross-sector climate action. But first, let's really recognize some leaders in the room.
And before we do that, Megan, we would like to tell and express our generosity for the CRESG Foundation. Because of their generous support, we had the opportunity to give scholarships to almost more than 20 people that had the opportunity to be here in this conference and learn all this valuable information and take it back to their communities. And it's important to say that they won these scholarships because of their climate leadership and inclusion and diversity in the movement. So let's give a round of applause for all of them that are here because of the CRESG Foundation.
Yeah, thank you for making your trip here and being with us. And as we move into the Climate Leadership Awards, I just want to recognize that so many of you in the audience are doing a lot to lead on this issue. You're advocating locally, regionally, nationally. You're taking steps in your own organization to walk the walk, be more sustainable, even commit to have zero impact. And I want to thank you for all that you do to lead on this issue. What we're doing today is recognizing several organizations that we work with that have made a commitment to visibly lead on climate and to go to 100% clean by 2030. So while we might not have that kind of commitment nationally, they're doing what they can in their own organizations, and they're inspiring the thousands of members that they have to follow in their footsteps. So please welcome Jennifer Roberts, who's going to give the awards for our community.
These things are heavy. Okay. So our first award, we have 2 awards today on behalf of the community sector. Our first one is an interesting one. We've been working with Utah since 2016. You heard me talk a little bit about their successes. Salt Lake City joined Eco-America's Path to Positive, made a 100% renewable commitment. Since then, the state has passed 2 amazing climate bills, which we didn't think was possible. And these folks in Utah had a huge hand in that, working through our Path to Positive program. They, one of these resolutions that was passed was the first climate resolution to pass in a conservative-leaning state. And I tried to give this to Utah Clean Energy, who is one of our main partners, and they came back and said, this is a team effort. So they really epitomize the collaboration. They said, Park City Mayor Bierman, Summit County Councilors Robeson and Wright, Salt Lake City, and Mayor Berkowitz all worked hard to pass HB 411. They're Path to Positive Utah leaders. They're part of the Utah Climate Action Network and have worked with Utah Clean Energy. So this award has 5 things on it. And here to accept on behalf of these 5 entities, Ryan Anderson from Utah Clean Energy. Make your way to the stage. Here she is. On behalf of Utah Clean Energy, Utah Climate Action Network, Salt Lake City, Park City, and Summit County. Congratulations. You want to say a few words?
Hi, good afternoon. I am so incredibly grateful to be here today accepting this award on behalf of Utah Clean Energy, Salt Lake City, Park City, Summit County, and the Utah Climate Action Network. Passing HB 411, or the Community Renewable Energy Act, took incredible, tremendous collaboration and hard work, and we are so grateful to Eco-America for supporting Path to Positive Utah and helping us accelerate the climate conversation. Thank you.
All right. And so you have to figure out how you divide up between 5. They're going to figure out some good math because they have 2 awards for 5 entities. So it's like they can figure that out. Need some of our climate engineers to figure that out. So the next of our community awards goes to Climate Resolve in LA for climate leadership in the city of Los Angeles. You've heard a lot about them. Climate Resolve is dedicated to telling the local climate story, winning policy measures, and providing solutions to inspire Southern California to adapt and thrive in the face of climate change. They have been our partner for several years as well. You've heard about Mayor Garcetti's Green New Deal and their commitment to move to 100% zero carbon. What's also interesting about their commitment, and they have this in their statement, making that goal is really important. Even if it's a moonshot, seeing where you're going means you're more likely to get there. And they included social equity, green jobs, community inclusion, and transparency in their commitment. They have more than 250 cross-sector leaders in the LA area and have helped pass a record-setting transit bond, the Cool Roof Initiative, and I'm sure they're a part of the state of California's commitment to be 100% zero carbon by 2045. So here to accept the award, you've met him already, Jonathan Parfrey. All right, come say a few words.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, I think of the climate movement as before Bob and after Bob. And so there was before Bob when Waxman Markey had just failed, thanks Lindsey Graham. And so there was this time where the movement was asking itself, what should we do? What can be done? And there was one person who was really thinking deeply, asking a lot of questions, and it was Bob Berkowitz. And I had the pleasure of hanging out with Bob at that time, and he influenced actually the formation of Climate Resolve, that we came up with a new way of being a local climate organization that was focused on making climate change relevant to the people where it's taking place. And thank you, Bob. This is maybe our organization is the post-Bob kind of organization. So it's with incredible gratitude that we've been able to work with Eco America. Thanks. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, I get the wonderful privilege of awarding our wonderful faith partners who are making these kinds of commitments as well. And you've heard from one of them today already, so I'll start with John. So we are so excited to award the first 2019 Climate Leadership Award for one of our faith partners to the United Church of Christ, which again, as you heard from John earlier today, has been a historic leader on issues of environmental injustice and addressing the root causes of environmental racism. And now, thanks to really leadership from John and others like Jim Antal and the church, they are making a commitment to what Jim often refers to as the greatest moral imperative of our time, which is climate change. They have made creation care a top priority, as you heard, as part of their Three Great Loves initiative. They are publicly supporting and encouraging all clergy and congregations to support solutions like transition to 100% clean energy, and to talk about this regularly in their services and in their places of worship. So we're very grateful for their leadership, and I would like to invite John Dorhauer back up to the stage to receive this award. You're on my right.
I'll be brief. The United Church of Christ has been all in with Bob Berkowitz and Eco America from the start. And to be given this award by Eco America is something we are very proud of. I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity and thank two individuals who are largely responsible for our collective commitments to eco-justice. The author of Climate Church, Climate World, and special advisor to the General Minister and President of the United Church of Christ on eco-justice, Jim Antal, and our Executive Minister for Environmental Justice in the United Church of Christ, Brooks Barrington. It is on their behalf that I receive this award.
going to have everyone take a seat while they receive their awards, and we'll take a picture afterwards. But the next organization that I want to recognize is the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church Western Episcopal District. We have had the pleasure of working with Bishop Staccato Powell as he embraces climate change as one of his top priorities as Bishop of the Western Episcopal District. We are so thankful for his leadership, and just this month, he has made a commitment to help the Western Episcopal District move all congregations toward 100% clean energy by 2030, which is incredibly bold and audacious commitment. So thank you so much, and I welcome you up to the stage to receive the next award.
On behalf of the Western Episcopal District and the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church, unlike my great friend John, we weren't in from the start, but we are here now. Thank you, Bob, for your energy and your leadership. I am a native of North Carolina, and Mayor Roberts has already indicated the challenges that we've had in that state and the difficulties in California you're well aware of with the fires and the other natural causes as a result of our irresponsibility about the climate. So the Western District is delighted to be the face for the faceless and the voice for the voiceless as we tackle this, and we will win because God is on our side. Thank you.
And last, but certainly not least, I'd like to recognize the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, who in 2017, with leadership of several of their leaders and congregants and clergy from across the country, made a commitment, passed a resolution to go climate neutral by 2030 and climate positive, taking carbon out of the atmosphere by 2035. And they are working diligently to implement that program of support to help congregations move in that direction as we speak. They are boldly leading in this field. Other denominations are looking to them to see how this can be implemented. And it's being led in part by the Green Chalice program of Christian Church Disciples of Christ and Reverend Sotelo Long, who I'd like to invite to the stage to accept the award.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank God for this opportunity to say how much I appreciate being introduced and a part of this wonderful movement. I came new to this opportunity by virtue of my position. I was clueless, but got called to be president of Disciples Home Missions, and our denomination had been fully engaged in this, and I went on a high learning curve. So I want to also make sure I thank Blessed Tomorrow and the leadership of Anita Cruz, Megan Spicer, the director of Eco America, Bob Berkowitz, the president, along with his prime motivator behind the scenes, Lisa, and also for our wonderful co-moderator today, Vanessa Hauk, for her being a part of the board and everything. I also want to say on behalf of our general minister and president, Terry Hoard Owens, she gave the green light to make sure that we're engaged in this. And there's so many issues that come our way, but we're making sure that we stay tight and rightly connected with the work around climate initiatives. And my colleague in ministry, John Dohauer, I want to say we really connected in a special way because we have a real intentional bond between the United Church of Christ and the Disciples of Christ as far as recognizing our mutual standing in ministry and all of that. And I'm going into that as well. I'll be at their General Synod in June, so I'll see you there. Your General Assembly in July? All right. And my brother from another mother, Sotelo. We kind of kid like that. We hit it off from previous Eco America events, and his heart is true to this commitment. So I want to say it's always good to be a part of this with you. I want to make sure that I finally say that Green Chalice led by Carol Devine and Scott Hardneri, are the prime movers and shakers in the midst of the disciples of Christ and making sure that they're giving feet and life and witness to this. Even to the point that at our General Assembly, before we have it, there'll be a gathering of pastors and clergy for a resiliency retreat to make sure that we try to drill down to make sure that the word gets out, not just to the higher-ups, but down to the pastors and to the congregations. And so we're committed to make sure that we put legs and feet behind this commitment. So with that, I also want to say that I'm so grateful to be a part of this work in collaboration with Creation Justice Ministries. You had a wonderful time of meditation or connecting with Shanta Reddy Alonzo this morning. Amen? For those who were here for that, we work hand in hand together as well. And last but not least, I got to say thank God for my wife, Dee, releasing me to be here for a couple of days, and for my parents, my father who's in heaven now, and my mother who's at home. She'd be proud to see her little boy obeying what she had taught me way back in the day. And let me just share this little tidbit that sort of connects with this. So give me a moment. I think I lost my section here, so pause. Here it is. There we go. As a faith leader, I'm fully persuaded that connecting people with the life-changing love of God encompasses care for creation and our home called Earth. I appreciate a clean home with fresh air and beautiful skies, not only for me, but for posterity. I'm glad that the disciples spearheaded by Green Chalice are collaborating with Blessed Tomorrow, Eco America partners in pursuit of healthy climate initiatives. ACLS19 encourages eco-friendly living and challenges disastrous eco-friendly lifestyles. The ACLS community engages a coalition of sectors in spotlighting climate messes in order to seek safe and sound climate solutions. Put simply, like my mama told me as a young child, when I made a mess, don't leave it, clean it up. Let the church say amen.
Good afternoon. Did everybody go to sleep? Good afternoon. Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Rebecca Rear, the Senior Program Manager for Climate for Health here at Eco America. Thank you to our leaders in local government and faith institutions. It is now my honor to recognize our Climate for Health partners who are leading on clean energy. In the same way we are talking about climate change as a health emergency, we also have to help health professionals and people everywhere make the climate, energy, health connections. All of today's recipients have signed our Climate for Health 100% Clean Energy Declaration. Their visible national leadership on clean energy is helping the health sector understand and prioritize what otherwise might be a wonky subject, clean energy as a health solution. For our first recipient, with the Alliance of Nurses for Healthy Environments, we convene the Nursing Collaborative on Climate Change and Health. Through their leadership on clean energy, Annie is inspiring nurses everywhere to take similar action. Thank you, Katie Huffling, Annie's Executive Director, who is accepting this award for Annie.
Hi, good afternoon. It's such an honor to receive this award. The Alliance has made a very strong commitment that we, as a nursing organization, working with nurses who are on the front lines, seeing people every day who are being impacted by climate change, that we have to walk the walk. No matter the size of your organization, from the smallest to the largest, we can all be doing our part in looking organizationally at our energy usage. And so even though we're a small organization, we've made a very strong commitment, and we're working with our other nursing organization collaborators to do the same. So thank you.
The American Public Health Association is working to create the healthiest nation by 2030, which means acknowledging that nearly every decision made in the public sphere, from federal clean air regulations to local sidewalk zoning, has an impact on people's health. Clean energy goals align perfectly with this platform. Thank you, Dr. Georges Benjamin, APHA's Executive Director, who is accepting this award for APHA.
Got 3 grandkids, so this work's important for us to be able to walk the talk, but I'm really accepting this award for my grandkids and yours. Thank you.
I know I'm biased, but health leaders are just the best. Members of the National Environmental Health Association include first responders and members of local environmental health teams who are on the ground for weeks and months after disasters occur. They help communities clean up, rebuild, and cope. Through their work on clean energy, NEHA is also working to mitigate climate change as well as adapt and respond. Thank you, Dr. Natasha DeJarnette, who's accepting this award for NEHA.
Thank you so much for this kind honor. We certainly thank Eco America and Bob and Megan. We thank Climate for Health with Layla and Rebecca for their leadership, and also providing us a roadmap to be able to achieve this great task. We take this on as both a responsibility and with pride that we, one, educate and provide tools for the environmental health workforce to be there on the front lines addressing climate change and health, and then also as a responsibility that we have to walk the talk when it comes to climate and health. So on behalf of our board, who I will say voted unanimously in support of this effort, also on behalf of our executive director, Dr. David Dijak, which you saw earlier today, the staff at NEHA, and our nearly 6,000 members, I thank you, and we're happy to take this charge.
Physicians for Social Responsibility has 23 chapters throughout the country and students everywhere. Their leadership on clean energy will mobilize doctors to make changes in their offices and practices and talk to their patients and communities about changes they can make. Thank you, Barbara Gottlieb, who is accepting this award for PSR.
Thank you so much to Eco America. Physicians for Social Responsibility is really pleased and proud to be here today because the physicians are in the room and the physicians are in the community. I'd also like to add that PSR encompasses all types of health professionals. We're not just physicians. And we're totally committed to greening our practice, renewable energy, and I'd like to add that we're also training and engaging health professionals to take action on policy, the biggest lever for the change that we need to meet the frightening challenges of today. So renewable energy, fighting fossil fuels, rolling back fracking, we're there, and we're so happy to be doing it with Eco America. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, congratulations. Well, thank you so much, and I think it's really inspiring to see how each one of us from the place that we are can do something to be leaders in this issue, following our passion and finding a path to climate leadership in a way that is aligned with our values, with our beliefs and our abilities. So we can, each one of us from the place that we are, contribute. Now we're going to hear from a wonderful woman. She is a powerful voice in policy in Washington, in the national level also, and a great advocate for sustainability. Gina Mccarthy was the ex-EPA administrator under the government of Barack Obama, and she could not be here with us today. She wanted to come, but she sent us a video, so let's hear from Gina.
Hello. Sorry I couldn't join you, but I am so happy to have a chance to connect. I'm Gina McCarthy, and I run Sea Change, a new center at Harvard THTN School of Public Health. And you may remember me as the former administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency. You know, the one who knew that my job was to protect public health, the one who paid attention to science, who followed the law, and knew who they worked for. The people in this country who deserve a clean, healthy, just, and sustainable world. I want to thank EcoAmerica for bringing so many faith, health, and community leaders together who care about our children and who care about our future. What an incredible opportunity to learn from and to lift up one another by embracing our personal obligation as well as our collective moral responsibility to take action on climate. Climate change at its heart is all about pollution, the carbon pollution that fuels climate change. And as we all know, carbon pollution is like all other pollutants. It is not an equal opportunity killer. It goes after the old and the young, minorities, and all those who struggle to make ends meet. And this week, it's really important that we recommit ourselves to stop pollution that impacts our health today and threatens to rob our children's future. And we draw on hope and energy from the fact that we have come a long way since the first Earth Day. We know that 16% of premature deaths across the world are the result of exposure to pollution. That's 9 million human beings. That's 3 times more than those who die from tuberculosis, malaria, and AIDS combined. This is serious business, and we are exposing our youngest children to the worst hazards. 1 in 4 kids under the age of 5 are dying because of causes related to an unhealthy environment. 1 out of 4 little kids. And a study just came out that shows that 4 million kids each year develop asthma simply as a result of the unfortunate instance that their families live near major highways. No child should struggle to breathe, and no mother should face their child not being able to breathe because of the problems associated with where they live, because of air pollution. We cannot tolerate these inequities any longer, certainly not the ones that threaten our kids' future. I am done talking about the realities we are facing and the threats to our children that they face tomorrow. And you should be too. It's time to stop talking and it's time to act. No mother, father, daughter, or son can sit on the sidelines and fail to engage. Climate change is the most significant public health, economic challenge, safety challenge, and national security challenge of our time. We are facing this together, and we have to act today. Let me be very clear. If we think about actions to fight climate change as opportunities to invest in public health, we will make our world healthier and more just today, while we create a path towards a future we can be proud to handle to our children. So that's what we need to do together, and that's what we need to speak up and talk about together. The good news we have is we have solutions to shift away from carbon pollution and move towards clean energy and cleaner communities. I ask each of you to find a way to make climate change personal for you. And for everyone you have the opportunity to speak to. Get people to understand that it's not about polar bears and it's not about glaciers. It's about them. It's about their children, their grandchildren, and the future that we hold in our hands for them. If you're a parent, yours is the most precious hands and most precious voice that we can bring to this fight for our health and our children's future, because you will remember the first time you held your child in your arms. It's unforgettable. I myself was amazed that I could be so in love with this tiny person that I had never even met before. But I was also terrified because I knew for the first time, right then and there, that my future and my happiness depended on the health and happiness of that tiny little son that I had. No longer was my world all about me. My happiness was now inextricably linked to the health and happiness of my child. If my son or daughter wasn't healthy or happy, then my whole world, I knew right then and there when Dan was born, it would just fall apart. This is exactly what we need climate change to be all about for each and every one of us.